That's why we give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Pick it up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote in me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my word? It's just hitting my mind that you mentioned, because we used to end with this from time to time, but we're going to hit it right now. Matthew chapter 12, verse 47. Before we even get to rocking and rolling, Matthew chapter 12, verse 47. I'm in the wrong spot, I think so. Say what I said, 12, son.
12:47.
That ain't what I want, though.
So that's definitely it's not an ending.
Yeah, no. It's 13, my bad. 13:47, that's my bad. But you could go to 44. 13 and 44. Matthew 13 and 44.
Sure did.
Yeah, me and Stan were talking about that a few weeks back. That just came in my mind just now. So we're just going to roll with it. 13 and 44. And again, the kingdom of Shamahim is like unto a treasure hid in the field, the which a man hath found. He findeth, for joy thereof, go and sell all that he have and buy that field. Again, the kingdom of Shamahim was like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of Shamahim was like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels and cast the bad away. I just want y'all to understand that goes to a point that we discussed earlier, like with Saul. See, when the gospel go out, just because people get brought in, don't mean they good. It's some good and it's some bad. And if you ever went fishing, sometimes you catch some good stuff and there's some other stuff you got to throw back. And you got some people that got caught up in the net of that good word and came to get it, and they had to get thrown back. And I ain't talking about thrown back in regards of, oh, they walk away. No, they stay there to the conclusion. You understand? Judas was there to the conclusion.
That's right.
You can sit right there and go to service every week and bust hell wide open. And I'm going to tell you something. It's some people who going to bust hell wide open and they not going to be shocked. They already know they supposed to have been there. And it's not going to be because they did a whole bunch of evil stuff. It's because they had an evil heart of unbelief to begin with. See, a lot of y'all thinking it's about, oh, they must have been fornicating or lying or stealing or this, that, there, and the third. No, they never believed it. And they just sat there every week thinking this is what I got to do to prove a point. I done told you before. If you know this ain't where you want to go to hell doing what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Don't halfway do it and go to hell. Go to hell and fully enjoy yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you're going to do it, then you might as well just do it and get the full reward. Don't halfway do it and get nothing. That don't make sense. You know what I'm talking about? Have y'all ever halfway done something and didn't get the full benefit of it? You felt like a pure fool when you were done. You ever did something with a whole level of commitment and got the full reward? You definitely was like, that's what it was. I can do that again. Don't serve you who are half-heartedly, because you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything, and you might as well had went to hell doing what you wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? If this is what you want to do, then do it with every ounce of your soul so you can get paid. Y'all ever went to a job and worked the whole shift and then get paid? I'm talking about if you don't work for anybody, have you ever went and did something and anticipated getting paid and they bucked you? See, that's a horrible feeling to get bucked. You understand me? I done had a stinking bastard buck me for $27,000. I rode all the way down south about my $27,000. And them punk bastards still didn't pay me. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? At the same time, another punk bastard bucked me for 10. And if I was a different nigga at a different time, they both be laying in the cemetery. But feeling like you could play with me about my money. Not for the money, because you felt like you looked at me and seen a vagina. I can buck him, and I'm gonna show you what you can buck. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's how you go as a man. That's how you go to feeling. Like you felt like it was something soft about me. You felt like you could take from me. But I'm just mentioning you that there because in the business world, them people are 3 times as treacherous as anybody you'll run across in the street. Because what you gonna do? Kill them? You can't do nothing but sue them or take that L, and they know that. You know what I'm talking about? And they know that. Man, look here, man. The stuff some of the business people do that if it was in the street, they'd be dead. I'm talking about this a shady game. That real estate, boy, when I first started being around the people in real estate, boy, I thought I was selling dope again. How them people behave. You know what I'm talking about? Shady. You know what I'm talking about? Shady. But that's just business, though. Everybody's not trustworthy. Like, at the end of the day, business is built on trust. People do business with people they trust. You know what I'm talking about? And there's no way around that. I'm talking about whether it's business to business, private sector, business is built on trust. Because at the end of the day, if you do a job for somebody, you don't know if they're going to pay you. You know what I'm talking about? You really don't. Guess what? When you go to work, you just believe them people going to pay you. But you don't really know if them people going to pay you. Because that business could close tomorrow and you don't get paid. Case in point, that Black News Network shut down. Shah Khan say, I ain't putting no more money in this here. And the people wasn't going to get paid. The only reason why they got paid because bad press came about it. Because he wasn't going to pay them. And some people be like, he rich. Why wouldn't he do that? Because he had already lost $50 million. See, a broke nigga who ain't never owned nothing and ran nothing would talk trash about the man. Why he ain't paid them last people paycheck? Because I lost $50 million, nigga. I don't want to pay no more. I done lost 50 M. You niggas will cry if you lost $50. Now imagine if you lost 50 million. See, if you ain't ever owned a controlled nothing, that won't even make no sense to you. Because if you had invested 50 million in something, would you want to put some more money in it in this family? Absolutely not. Shoot, you niggas just don't get paid. That's the cost of doing business. So at the end of the day, you don't really know if somebody gonna pay you. You trust your check gonna be hit that direct deposit every week. You trust them people gonna have that check for you when you leave work. You really don't know. You know how many businesses done shut down and people didn't get paid? Happens every day. You know what I'm talking about? So everything is built on trust. So you looking for the reward from Yahuwah is based on trust that he gonna keep his word. You know what I'm talking about? And see, you have to know who you're dealing with to know that he ain't lying to you. I mention that because your forefathers had to trust to put that blood on that doorpost that death angel was going to pass over them so they could get up out of them. They had to trust that word, or they had to trust that I'm going to get paid if I do this. Because at the end of the day, you go to work every day trusting that them people going to pay you for your labor. You know what I'm talking about? If you own your own business, you doing that job trusting that these people going to pay you for your labor. You really don't know if they're going to pay. Because every man in here who own a business has been bucked. You know what I'm talking about? When somebody said, bump that junk, I'm not paying you. I did a job, the same people who bucked me for $27,000, I had contracted for somebody to do a job on it. And guess what? You got to get bucked for them 5 bands because they ain't paying me and I damn sure ain't paying you. You know what I'm talking about? And I told them people ain't paid me and I'm fighting to get your money. And I kept telling them people, I owe somebody. I need my money to pay them. Or we not paying you. Well, shoot, I'm telling them, hey, I can't pay you because they ain't paid me. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what to tell you. Just take that L. You know what I'm talking about? Because I took mine. But boy, I'm not finna take 2 L's. I ain't finna lose 27 bands and then lose. Now I'm losing 32. I ain't doing it. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't doing it. Y'all remember, I rode all the way to Bradenton about that money. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna pull up. Them people were shocked. They ain't know what this is. Dude tried to hide. Yeah, I came to see you about mine, cuz. So did. What you say? Looking dead in his face. He talking about you got the invoice. I got all that, nigga. Well, we're still reviewing. Ain't nothing, man, where my money at? You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to be a professional. I really want to slap the taste out your mouth. Because I talked to you as a man, and then after that, you stopped taking my phone call. So now I feel disrespected. That's why I'm here. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I'm here. What that nigga say? I could have pulled up on you, but I thought that was too bad.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
What he said?
Word salad. Word salad. But it was just a point of whether you don't pay me or not, as a man, I'm going to come step to you about my money. And after that, I'm going to let Yahuwah deal with you. You know what I'm talking about? But as a man, you got to smell my cologne and look me in my eye about my money. You know what I'm saying? And luckily for him, I didn't smell as exquisite then as I do now. You know what I'm talking about? Why, I mean, it's the truth.
My bag wasn't deep.
You know what I'm talking about?
You increase.
You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, man, y'all already know how I feel about that one. That man, get you some apocryphy in your life, man. You know what I'm talking about? Spice it up and smell good. Don't smell good for your wife, because see, it's a lot of cologne my wife don't like. I don't care. She only like one. No, I take that back. She like about 2, 3, but it's only one she really like. Oud Force. Is that your favorite one? Yes. Oh, I ain't had Oud Force on. You know what I'm talking about? It was Jubilation 25. You know what I'm talking about? I think she like Lipstick Rose. What the other one? The one you smell. Y'all like you like the grapefruit. Yeah, grapefruit fire. Oh, there, that nigga she liked the Oud Sad Mood though. Nigga cuffed him, little cuff. Oh, that's right. She really like Elysium, but we already know that Elysium is the certified panty dropper. They say that Aventus is the boxer dropper, so you don't want that one. Now they say that because only dudes like Aventus. Women don't like Aventus like dudes and Fragcom like Aventus. Like if you spray Aventus around a lot of dudes, they'll lose their mind. A woman smell it. Okay. But Elysium, you get your $250, man, invest in Elysium, man. I'm telling you. They like it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm saying something because I got a lot. She don't like most of them. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's why she's looking like that. She want to acknowledge me. Okay. 13 and 49. So shall it be at the end of the world. The Malachim shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yahushua said unto them, have you understood all these things? They said unto him, yea, Lord. Then he said unto them, therefore every scribe instructed into the reign of Shamahim. The Malkut for Shamahim is like unto a man that is a householder, which bring forth out of his treasure new and old. You understand? So what is he telling you? Who knows what a scribe is by definition in the language? Recorder. Let's look and see in Ezra. Let's see what we get. He was a ready scribe. Skilled man. Ezra 7:7. That was a skilled. That man know what he's doing. A lot of dudes don't know what they're doing. 7:6. And again, this is rehashing material most of y'all in here already know. Michael don't know this because you weren't here. Unless you've been in the archives. You been in the archives? Huh? You may or may not know if you've been in the archives. No, I'm asking you, have you been in the archives? Oh, that's highly unfortunate. Maybe it's 2,000 videos. You were under that. Probably about a good 1,600, 1,700. Oh, you got to get in the archive, baby. You got to get up to speed. I mean, they just in the order of the day they were recorded. I mean, it's 3 different channels. We gave you that breakdown already. So you ain't been in the archive since we told you that. So you don't like to get high like you say you do. Because that's what we're talking about. My dope don't age. You know,
just as pungent as it was.
It's just as potent as it was 5 years ago. Now, all jokes aside, I'm mentioning that, and I'm just talking to her because I know because a lot of stuff that mentioned it like that. Of course, now at one time we'd be like, okay, you have to go watch the videos. We're not going backwards. That is not even practical to tell anyone to do that at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's entirely too many. There's no way that you can do that. So we mention certain things in case you don't know or you don't remember. Because by the grace of Elohim, well, we're coming on 10 years. This 10 years worth of material. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way that I could consciously expect somebody to go through 10 years worth of material. So when I ask y'all certain stuff, or I just single out one of y'all to mess with y'all, I'm doing that for a reason, so you can say, I don't know. Because you're talking about 10 years worth of material. We're not talking about a year or two. Like, do you really think that I tell somebody, yeah, man, you need to watch the YouTube videos, then you get on the channel and be like, nigga, I do have other things I got to do. I can't sit here and watch all of this. That's impossible. It's not going to happen. Tavon says it's definitely worth the trip to take, to go through the archives. He just was telling me, man, look here, man. He commented on some stuff I forgot that was made.
Boy, that boy said that comment on your video. I thought you were talking about music videos.
No.
Preaching.
Preaching.
Hey, man, I ain't knocking nobody who do it. Deidre used to be sitting there doing it. At work. Should have been working.
I can do both.
She can't do both. She just say buck on people. She's a buck. Ezra 7 and 6. Because this is stuff that some of them know because we spent time years ago, like boom, boom, boom. So it's really I said that. This Ezra went up from Babylon. He was a ready scribe in the law of Moses, which Yahuwah Elohim of Yashar'al had given and granted him all his requests according to the hand of Yahuwah, his Elohim upon him. So he already mentioned it because there is no, because he was there for it when he mentioned what ready was. And of course, that is Mahir, Meme, Hey, Yod, and Raj. That is somebody who is quick, prompt, skilled, and ready. This is an individual who was a skillful man. That means when it came to going through the law of Moses, this man had a level of skill that other people did not have. When you're dealing with what is a scribe, by definition in the language, scribe is safar. This is somebody who recounts, relates, numbers, to recount, to rehearse, to declare, to be rehearsed, an enumerator, a muster office, a secretary, a scribe, but most importantly, a learned man. So somebody who is a ready scribe, by definition, is a man who is skilled and learned in retelling the word. That's why when you can read it, Ezra said he opened up the law and he caused the people to understand it. Y'all recall that verse? And what is it? I think that's in Nehemiah 9. Is that Nehemiah 9? Let's come over here to Nehemiah 9.
That's many saviors.
Yeah, that's what it said. 2 Kings 13 and 5. So he sent many saviors. That's what he said. Oh, that's not Nehemiah 9 that we need on that one. Might be Nehemiah. No, that's not Nehemiah 10 either.
Niggas try to use, you know what niggas try to use that for?
People like to try to use a lot of stuff. Dudes really be trash. You know what I'm saying? See, I ain't got no problem telling you, man, you suck. Let's see if chapter 8 what I need.
How did he be the one?
How can he be the one? How can he be the one?
Waiting for the next savior, bro.
We just waiting on the next savior, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't believe in no dead nigga. You know what I'm saying? Stuff they like to say.
Hey, that's what they was saying.
Yeah, sometimes I be like, you know what? Like Willie D said, your daddy should have pulled out and your mama should have swallowed. Nehemiah 8 and 8. You can pick it up at 8 and 6. And Ezra, Baruch, Yahuwah, the great Elohim, all the people answered, amen, amen. We lifted up their hands and they bowed their heads and worshiped Yahuwah with their faces to the ground. Yahusha, Benai, Sherebiah, Yamin, Akub, Shabbatai, Hodiah, Messiah, Kalida, Azariah, Jehozabad, Hanan, Peliah, and the Levites caused the people to understand the law. The people stood in their place. So they read in the book of the law of Elohim distinctly and gave sense and caused to understand the reading. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody who is skilled is going to cause you to What did Philip ask the Ethiopian eunuch? Understand what you're reading. He said, how can I accept a man guide? The key thing is he said, do you understand? When Yahusha resurrected from the dead, he said, and out of the book of Moses and the Psalms and in the prophets, he taught them the things concerning himself. And he said, and he opened their understanding. When you read in Jeremiah, he said he give you pastors after his own heart that will feed you with knowledge and understanding. You know what I'm talking about? Yahusha is your understanding, because if you don't have understanding, you are what? Worthy of death. That means you don't understand and have the insight into the will of Elohim. Therefore, you have no purpose or reason to him. You cannot be used. How can you do something and you don't understand why you're doing it? That's why I told you the other day, Yahuwah just don't tell you to do something. He calls you to understand why he is instructing you to do it. See, that's modern times where you feel like I don't need to explain nothing. I'm the man, or that's a child, or this, that, and the third. That's poor leadership. If you want somebody to do something on your behalf, they need to understand why they're doing it. When they understand why they're doing it, that's why they can do it with delight and commitment, because they understand the goal, reason, and cause on why it's being done. You already know what Yahushua told his apostles. He said, I don't call you servants, I call you friends, because everything that my Father makes known to me, I make it known unto you. So you understand why you're doing it, what you're doing it. Remember what he told you to tell your sons about Passover? What do you mean by this service? If your son asks you that. You know what I'm talking about? Let's look at it, because some of y'all looking like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? I know you don't know what I'm talking about. You, Miss Mason, you paid to get that name changed? You all right with me?
That's right.
That's right. Exodus 12. See, so that's all right. Because some women, they drag their feet. That's how you know you were ready.
Appreciate your honesty.
You can walk home. So you must have wanted to stay at your daddy's house. You had to.
Can I keep my stuff over here too?
Because if he get half the name, he get all the shame, because you going back. Yeah, wrong with you. You don't have a nigga baby talking about I want my daddy name. Well, then you should have uniquely stayed a virgin. That's crazy to talk about it's unique, but you uniquely took another man's seat. You have your own last name. Nigga, what y'all got going on?
Oh, that makes sense.
What you say now? How is that possible? So who name you had? Just a random person?
They had the ethnic name. That was just.
Oh, so they just made something up. So you ain't had no surname, so you just belong to a random nigga in the end. Don't you realize when you take your husband's last name, that makes the stamp I belong to somebody. I belong to the house of Mason. See, when they gave you something, you basically was a bastard baby. Oh, so they was one of them old deep niggas, that slave name of the master, we will not take it. Oh, yeah, you got some weirdo niggas. I understand. Now that makes sense.
No, I do.
Now that makes sense. I should have known that when you said that there. That's the slave master's name. He ain't slave. 9 times out of 10, the people's last name you had was black as you. Yeah, don't go for that junk. They talking about they gave you the slave master name. Them people be lying. Some of your people came over here straight from Europe, straight from such and such, and brought that name with them. Don't go for that. Them be lies.
That's right.
Them be lies. But I get that. Then you say, yeah, you supposed to definitely want to drop the African name and say, I belong to the house of man. See, you can say that with pride. So if you walk around there in Funte, who's that? I'm just using the name Umar Johnson. Who's that? When you look up now, oh, I'm part of the house of Mason. See, you're supposed to say that with pride. You know what I'm talking about? That's the house I belong to. Strong house. You know what I'm talking about? Because then that's when you can look somebody and say, so I'm somebody's wife, nigga. What you is? I'm a girlfriend. See, not me. No. I'm a wife. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Y'all be ready to cast them names away then and shoot. Bump my daddy. I ain't know that nigga anyway. Well, he a buster for that.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to.
And I say that because he been married. He was married before. You know why she gave the name up. Got a whole nigga baby over here talking about you gonna get a name up. I gave him a warm up. You ain't care about that.
What's great?
That's the part I'm looking at. Nigga can have premarital sex. Daughter give her womb up. You don't care nothing about that. You gonna get a last name up? Nigga, what? Your priorities are skewed. That don't make no sense.
You'll be all right.
That don't make no sense. Y'all know I ain't lying. I'll make sure I ain't mess my remarks, man. Now, all jokes aside, that's supposed to be an honorable thing. Reason why I say that word-wise. Genesis 5:1 said, in the beginning, he made them male and female and called their name Adam. So when you see Eve, what does that mean? Called their name Adam? That's Eve, wife of Adam. That's how they know who you belong to. Because if a man see you and you ain't got no man name on you, then you open season. When I say open season, not for any type of assault or disrespect, but that he can make you his wife. That's why you seen that with Abraham when he was like, is that your wife? Because if you ain't called by nobody's name, then I can take you for myself. So then when you come back in Ephesians 3:19 and say everything in heaven and earth is named after Mashiach, because it's taking on your husband's name, you're called by his name. That's why he said everyone that named the name of Mashiach, let him depart from iniquity. Because that's going to be dishonorable to your husband, because she that brings shame is a rottenness to his bones. That's what the text says. So a woman who dishonors her husband is rottenness to his bones. That's why Yahuwah has a vast problem with people who claim his name and dishonor his name. Because you bringing shame to me. See, that's something that a woman can never relate to. See, a lot of women feel like, he cheated on me, I feel stupid. That's nothing. That's your feelings hurt because you want to believe that you could be everything a man needed. And you know you can't, but you just wanted to believe that. But a woman who dishonors a man on a regular basis brings a bitterness in that man's soul that cannot be described with words. You know what I'm talking about? If you ain't a man, you would not understand. There's no way that we can explain that feeling of bitterness that would arise in a man's soul to a woman. She would have no idea. You know what I'm talking about? Because you represent me. See, that's what a lot of women don't understand. You don't represent yourself no more. You don't represent your daddy. The minute I told you that I'm going to take responsibility of you away from your father, that means that there's a different, you represent me now. Don't bring no shame to my name. Don't bring no shame to my house. Because if you do, now I got to go in front of other men and they got to look at me knowing that I have a disgraceful, shameful wife. Women don't have to worry about it. See, y'all just want to brag about if he gets some money, if he got some status. But one thing about it, you get a group of men together and that man know that man's wife is a disgraceful, dishonorable, rotten, evil, cankerous whore. Everybody want to give him a hug and feel sorry. Why you think Denzel them came and patted that nigga on the back? They felt sorry for him. They know what you're dealing with. I know she a whore, brother.
Man, go ahead.
Okay.
Especially not Tyler Perry.
Come on, man. Tyler Perry don't even like women. Allegedly. You know what I'm talking about? You can't trust a nigga who play grandma better than grandma. That nigga do an older black woman better than she do.
That was KVK boy.
What? They came over there to talk to him. Calm down, brother. Exodus 12, right? You can pick it up at verse 22. Let me get that verse for you, man. That rottenness in his bones, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Because that's leading to Psalms 81, which is which leads to what we're dealing with this evening. It's right here in Proverbs chapter 12. If you didn't know, verse 4. It said, a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh shame is as rottenness in his bones. You know what I'm talking about? That ain't what you want. That ain't what you want. Because you understand, let's put it this way, right? Do you understand the level of bitterness and disgust that Yahuwah had dealing with us? Let me get y'all the definition for rottenness, man, so y'all can understand. Because this go past just a natural born woman. You understand me? We ain't talking about no natural born woman. Number one, we want to talk about a shame. It should be boosh, but let me make sure. And it is. You know what I'm talking about? And that's to put to shame, to be ashamed. Look at this here, to be disconcerted, to be disappointed. So when you look at that, a woman who brings shame, that's disappointing to the man. Now that's rottenness in his bones. Rottenness, which is rakab, raj, kuf, and bat. And that is literally a decay, a rottenness, something that is falling away. See, what a lot of women don't understand. Now, I heard a dude say, a woman can be your greatest motivation or inspiration. I'm not a man of that holds that type of thought process. Ain't no woman gonna motivate me or inspire me to do nothing. I motivated and inspired myself. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. You know what I'm saying? I don't knock anybody who my wife's my motivation or my inspiration. I just don't do any of that there because then you're giving the person too much control over your mental state. If they have the ability to inspire you, that means they also have the ability to destroy you. And that's a power that you gave to them by saying that they're your motivation or inspiration. But that's just my outlook. You know what I'm talking about? But when you turn around and you look at it right, a woman does not really realize what I just mentioned, the power she can have to destroy a man's motivation to move forward, to do anything. And bringing shame to him is the greatest way to do it. Oh, you over there playing? Do you need some chastisement? Do you need a rebuke? Clearly you do. Who else is participating in your folly? Oh, Michael, what you got to talk about? So why wouldn't you just get up and ask for the bottle of water? Are you deceiving me or are you being honest? Huh? What you say? So the proper thing to do next time is if you want a bottle of water is to get up and ask an adult for it. Nigga, she's the same age as you for the most part. How can she do anything for you? She doesn't have access to the water. You understand what I'm saying? So what should you do? So do you want some water? Then get up and ask somebody grown to get you a bottle. Dang, and as I say that, here go Napoleon talking about Jada Pinkett asked Tupac not to beat up Will Smith after Tupac found out they were dating. Like Pac really was a fighter like that. I don't trust Pac no way because that nigga took a picture in his drawers. You know what I'm talking about? With his leg cocked over. I don't trust him. I can't let it go.
You can't let that go.
I can't let it.
Front cover?
Front cover, man. Vibe. I had it at my house. We had a subscription. Nigga, we had a subscription to Vibe magazine. Nigga, this 1996. Nigga, everybody had Vibe source at their house. Come on, man. Ebony and Essence. Like y'all niggas young. Y'all don't know about the coffee table with magazines nobody read. Jet magazine. All the little niggas killing themselves looking at the beauty of the week halfway blind.
I'm guilty. Hey, look. Yeah. Definitely was niggas.
So, Proverbs 11, Exodus 11 and 22. Well, 23. Exodus 12 and 23. Oh, he hit you with the low blow. He didn't try, he threw it out there. Did it land well? He said he gonna let you live. For Yahuwah will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when they see the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahuwah will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses to smite. You shall observe this thing for an ordinance to you and to your sons forever. And it shall come to pass when you shall come in the land which Yahuwah will give you, according as he has promised, you shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your son shall say unto you, what mean you by this service? That you shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahuwah's Passover, who passed over the houses of the sons of Yashar'al and Mizraim, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed their head and worshiped. Because if that child don't know nothing about that, and you doing that, they would need to know why they're doing it. And that's when you go on into the insight of, son, this is why we're doing this. That's what I meant earlier on. Once that child come off the breast, they got to go with their daddy because their daddy is the one who's going to prepare them for life. Now, of course, the mother can teach the daughter, certain feminine aspects. But when it comes down to being a wife and a servant, she has to learn that from her father. She learns it from her mother by watching her mother serve her father. But her daddy has to implant that in her brain. Because remember when I asked y'all a long time ago, did your father require anything of you? And most of you said, nah, he didn't. So that comes up that when you come up as a woman, you're not expecting or you're shocked when you meet a man and he requires something of you. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're the first man that you ever interacted with didn't require nothing of you. You didn't have to earn nothing. everything you got it because you my baby girl. I'm daddy's girl and all that. Shoot, that nigga right up under that blanket, she gonna earn everything she get. Ain't nothing gonna be handed to her because that doesn't do her a circle. Every one of us know in here, somebody hands you something, you don't appreciate it. Same way she had to tell mother, look at your socks. You want to dirty them up? I bet you appreciate it when you got to spend your own money for them because you didn't have to do nothing for it, so you don't appreciate it. Most of y'all didn't appreciate nothing your parents gave you until you had to go get a job and buy it yourself. When they told you, I'm not buying it, you got to buy it. Then you started taking care of stuff. When you know your people buy you some shoes, you don't take care of them shoes like you're supposed to because daddy going to buy me another pair. But if you got to buy that pair, you don't walk around in the mud with them. When they get dirty, you clean them. You put them where they're supposed to go. You know what I'm talking about? You treat it with some respect because you had to earn it. You don't respect what you don't earn, especially women. Y'all don't respect niggas who give y'all stuff because you didn't have to do nothing for it. You know what I'm talking about? That's not a knock. That's just your nature. Shoot, you do that with a man, he ain't going to appreciate it. Guess what? You ain't do nothing to earn salvation, and you see a lot of people don't appreciate it. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of people don't appreciate it. Come on into Psalms 81, man. It's time to get to what we're here for. Why y'all over there talking? You ain't got nothing to talk about. It seems I need to pull out my slapper. I don't need to pull it out. I got to. Because y'all over there talking while I'm talking, so that means what you got to say is more important than what I'm saying. That's what you telling me? That's what y'all telling me. Lizzie, don't make me embarrass you in front of your friends. And you neither. Psalms 81. Have some respect. You've been doing this too long, Renee. You've been doing this your whole life. You know what to do. Sing aloud unto Elohim our strength and make a joyful noise unto the Elohim of Jacob. Take a song. Bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. So boom, we got new moon. What do you have? You have what? Kodash. What do you have? New month, monthly, first day of the month, whatever the case may be. But now we want to look at solemn feasts, which you already know about. And what is that? Kog, Kot, and Gamal. You can give me what you got for that. And of course, you know that's a festival gathering, a festival sacrifice, a pilgrim feast. Now, they mention that with trumpets. Trumpets is not a pilgrim feast. Y'all are aware of that. Trumpets is not a pilgrim feast. We discussed it Wednesday. It's 3 pilgrim feasts. What are they, Michael? What are the 3 pilgrim feasts? Oh, I spent all that time on Wednesday. Boy, if you don't give me these 3/5, me and you gonna fight. I tie one hand behind my back. I don't know, you from Brooklyn. I need both my hands. If you need to be helped out by Michael, you need a whoop.
Man, Mike pretty good in the street, man.
You missing one? No. We got one more. Shoot, I got time, cuz. No. You really gonna help him out? This what you want? This what you want? Oh my goodness. At this rate, I ain't gonna get you no hug. I ain't gonna get you no hug when you don't give me this answer. Nigga, what?
Just should be sitting for a while.
You one show. You really 2 show because you had to let Michael help you out.
No, I was gonna say that before you said it.
You wasn't finna say Pentecost.
No. I'm saying.
Yeah, he just finished it off for you. You got a failing grade. You're gonna have to repeat class. Matter of fact, you're getting demoted. You're going back a grade. Remember, and I'm just about to say, right? When you see solemn feasts, remember it's talking about a pilgrim. That doesn't mean that people didn't pilgrimage up for trumpets, for atonement, or Purim, which Purim ain't really necessary to discuss. That's Pentecost. That's a festival. That's a pilgrim festival feast because of what reason that we discussed on Wednesday.
I think I'm probably saying this before. It's like a couple of weeks after.
No, you're thinking about the wave offering, which is something totally different. That's not an obligatory feast. That's something that goes on during unleavened bread. That's what Yahushua was when he resurrected from the grave. He was the wave offering. Got to have a wave offering to offer to Yahuwah on the third day of the feast. But what is the reason for these pilgrimage feasts that we discussed on Wednesday? Oh, y'all done forgot already? All males must appear before Yahuwah. That's what makes those feasts separate from trumpets and atonement. All males don't have to come up. All males must show their face. Notice he didn't say all females. All males must be present. You know what I'm talking about? And that's non-negotiable. You know what I'm talking about? As far as Yahuwah is concerned. All males are supposed to show their face. You know what I'm talking about? Number one, with Passover, what is the reason why all males got to show up for Passover, which sets the stage? Well, I'll tell you, because you may not remember off the top of your head. What did he do to the Egyptians before you came out? He killed all the firstborn. What did Yahuwah say what he would do with the firstborn? He sanctified all the firstborn. There he is. It's right there in verse 2. You remember we talked about that before. Sanctified unto me all the firstborn whatsoever opened the womb among the sons of Yashar'al, of man and of beast. It is mine. Do y'all understand that how that caveat goes? It's not how many. A man can have 6, 7 different firstborn sons that belong to Yahuwah if he had 6, 7 wives. Remember, Gideon had how many wives? Do you know? He had 18. You know how many children he had? 70. See, the firstborn son, as you can read from Exodus, is not predicated on the man. It's the first one that come out of a woman's womb. You know what I'm talking about? So once a woman has had a son, that son belongs to Yahuwah. If he had a son of Yashar'al, that firstborn son belonged to Yahuwah. That's how the Levites came into play. He replaced the firstborn with the Levites. Because if he didn't do that, and see, but that's a whole nother conversation.
They ain't ready for that.
They ain't ready for that. I'm gonna give it to you any doggone way. Look at him.
That's right. Preach.
Whole Psalm 81. Come over here to Hebrews 12. When I go from Hebrews 12, I go to Colossians, man. Y'all remember what they said in Exodus 4 and 22? Go on and give Exodus 4 and 22, little Johnny, and share it with the people. Oh, little Ruth took a tumble. She bleeds.
Thus said unto Pharaoh, thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus said Yahuwah, Yashar'al, my son, my firstborn.
His firstborn. Y'all remember what it said about Isaac? Remember what it said in Psalm 68 that we were talking about when he said solitary? Elohim was set the solitary in the families. You remember what that translated to? If you don't, it's okay. Translate the only begotten son. So I want you to think about that. Firstborn son is very important. What does Genesis 49 tell us about a firstborn son? That's the beginning of his strength. You understand? See, Jacob had 2 firstborn sons, Simeon and Joseph. And he had respect under Simeon until Simeon defiled his cow. That's Reuben. Until he defiled his cow. He had respect. That's the firstborn. That's why everything went to Joseph. You know what I'm talking about? firstborn son is of great regard to a man. See, that son that a woman you only get to do that one time. Yang yang. What you talking about? What you talking about, little mother? Yeah, you only get to do that once. Once it's done, that man, like this here, right? I'm not my daddy's firstborn son, but I'm my mother's. You know what I'm talking about? My brother Rico older than me, but from their mama, he the one that belonged to you. From my mama, I do, but I'm like the fourth. I'm like the fourth child. You know what I'm saying? I'm the second youngest. You know what I'm saying? I got an older sister and 2 older brothers. You know what I'm talking about? You gonna fall. Hebrews chapter 12. I'm in chapter 11. That's why I'm like, what? That ain't what I did. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 22. And again, remember that he took the firstborn, he took the Levites instead of the firstborn, meaning that the firstborn were actually, if he didn't take the Levites, were going to do what? Instead of taking the firstborn, he took the Levites. So if he wouldn't have took the Levites and kept the firstborn, what does that let us know that the firstborn would have been doing? They would have been in the office of a priest. They would have been doing the service of the tabernacle. They would have been doing all of those things. So what does that point us to? That points us to what we're about to read right here in Hebrews chapter 12. 12 and 22. Yeah, I mean, Samuel was the firstborn of Hannah, but his father had another wife and she had children. You know what I'm saying? And that's another point scripturally that it doesn't matter. A man can have, and I just mentioned that with Jacob, a man can have multiple firstborn sons. A woman can only have one. You know what I'm saying? Once she done passed the son through her womb, that son belongs to Yahuwah. It doesn't matter how many sons she has after that. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about belong to Yahuwah, we're talking about belong to Yahuwah for a particular service. If you know the law, you look it up. It's in the book of Numbers. Again, he replaced the Levite, the firstborn, were replaced by the Levites. He said, I took in the Levites instead of the firstborn, but he said the firstborn are his. You know what I'm talking about? But 12 and 22. You are coming to Mount Zion and to the city of the living Elohim and to heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of Malachim, to the general assembly and the house of the firstborn, which are written in Shamahim, to Elohim, the judge of all, and to the ruachs of them of just men made perfect. Now, he calls it the church, the house, the synagogue of the firstborn. How would you explain that? What you doing? Oh, I'm asking you. I didn't say why you moved. Say what you doing. You don't feel good? You feel okay? I mean, you could. It said he called it the church of the firstborn, the house of the firstborn. How would you explain that? Why is he calling it that?
Because all those in his house have to be born again as his firstborn.
Say what?
I said all those in his house have to be born again as his firstborn.
Anybody who's born of him, see, this is what you're supposed to remember. See, I'm trying to see if you'll pull out a whole bunch of stuff that you already know. Number one, Jacob and Esau. What occurred? He put on the firstborn. And what is the only person who his father saw and blessed? The firstborn. Everyone who was born of Mashiach, who is in Mashiach, and Mashiach is in them, it is if you are Mashiach himself, that's the only person the Father knows. That's the only person the Father is going to accept. If you do not have the Ruach HaKadosh, then you are not born of the Son or to be a part of the firstborn. Therefore, he will not acknowledge you. That is why it is the gathering or the assembly of the firstborn. That's why the congregation is named what its name is named from this verse. But it's not named from this verse because I just said, let me name that. There is a story that goes along with that. You know what I'm talking about? But that's neither here nor there.
bless Ephraim and Manasseh. When you switch the names.
Yeah.
Is that similar?
Well, that's something he gave. It's the same thing that happened with Jacob in the womb. Jacob was not the firstborn, but he got the blessing of the firstborn.
Was that similar to what had occurred with him?
Well, it's similar to the Yahuwah blessing and giving that to whom he wanted. But either way it goes, the first. But see, that's another deal. We dealt with that a while back. I'm trying to recall what the passage is.
Would that be the same as Isaac and Ishmael?
Yeah, I mean, but see, because Ishmael was the firstborn of Rahab, and Yahuwah did not recognize Rahab as his wife like Hebrews do, because Abraham had 2 wives, or she was a handmaid. That's because dudes don't know the difference between a handmaid, a concubine, and a wife. Because you put your meat in her don't mean that's your wife. Concubines and handmaids don't have the same privileges as a wife. You know what I'm saying? That's dumb nigga talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it honest with you.
Even the butt.
Vast majority of women out here ain't nothing but concubines.
Big butt.
You know what I'm talking about? Keep it a buck.
Big butt.
It's a lot of stuff that a lot of women done did in this country. It would only qualify you to be a concubine. You know what I'm talking about? And we already know that. I done told y'all this before. It's a harsh reality. If a woman had a child already and she wasn't married, she could never be nothing but a concubine in ancient times. That's all she could be. She could never be a wife. She wouldn't be viewed as one. She'd be viewed as a harlot who played a whore in her father's house. She could never be elevated to the status of being a wife. She would be a concubine for life. You know what I'm talking about? And just because a man have a concubine don't mean that he's smashing her. She's just under his authority. And 9 times out of 10, she does service to his wife. You know what I'm talking about? Because his wife get all the call, all the sway. You know what I'm talking about? When Sarah told Abraham Hagar got to go, you see he ain't asked no question. Well, shoot, baby, you want to tell her leave? He didn't care about the woman. He only cared about the boy.
That makes him a seed taker.
But he had already told him, and Isaac, your seed gonna be called. Hagar ain't gonna have no baby, and that's why he kept calling Isaac his only begotten. I don't give a damn what you did with Hagar. That child of the flesh. This one here of the spirit. That's your son. I don't give a damn about that boy. I'm a blessing, but I don't care about him as it relates to you. See, that's tough. A lot of people won't hear that. That don't tend to your sensibilities. Why would he do that to that baby? Because I ain't tell him to knock that hoe up anyway. You know what I'm saying? That was your wife being impatient, feeling sorry for herself. I ain't tell you to do that. I had already told you when Isaac, your seed, was going to be called. That's the only son I recognize.
That's right.
He don't recognize none of them children with Keturah. I don't know them children. You know what I'm talking about? Even with Jacob, he recognized all us because we of his offspring. But at the end of the day, it was Joseph the one he rocked with because that was the wife that he loved. He didn't want Leah. He didn't want Leah. He wanted Rachel. You know what I'm talking about? And guess what? Joseph, the one that went up to the top, and the last son he had, he called him, "This is my son of my right hand." Benjamin, the only son of his that he named. Yep. Them women named the rest of them children. He said he named Benjamin, though. You know what I'm talking about? Man, come on, man.
She died. When she died, she named him. Then he was like,
and he changed his name.
I remember.
But hold on. Nah, and I'm just telling you that because it was always customarily that the woman would name the child. That's not a son like, the man named the child. A lot of times women name the child. They name the child based off of something. Just wasn't no name to look cute or sound cute. It was denoted an action or something that would be representative of that child. Or representative of what was going on when that child was born. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's how that went. I'm talking about not just in our culture, I'm talking about worldwide. That name had a meaning. It was a purpose. It wasn't, this sounds cute. You know what I'm saying? This sounds nice. See, that's new stuff. That's American stuff. You've been dumbed down and you thinking that junk cool. You know what I'm saying? Now, Moon said, not me. I named my baby with a purpose. My baby a faithful friend. Too bad you ain't nigga. You set yourself up for it. You know what I'm saying? You set up the trap block. I just hit the hole. You know what I'm saying? A guy. You know what I'm talking about? You're a good offensive guard. We appreciate you.
Got a drag.
Got a drag. You know what I'm saying? Offensive guards get paid well.
That's right. They gonna break your offense.
Come over here to Colossians, man. You had to know. You know, the tackles get the big bucks, but you know, stuff may happen in the trenches. Colossians, man, 1 and 9. What do you want, little baby? You sure you're all right, Pot? You tired?
It's a grown man. What you saying? I heard you whisper.
Colossians 1 and 9. For this cause also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that you might be filled with all knowledge of his will, all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that you might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, increasing in the knowledge of Elohim. Strengthened with all might according to the esteemed power, under all patience and long suffering with joyfulness. Muffin, be quiet. Giving thanks unto Abba, who have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the Chesed and light, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and translated into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created that are in heaven, that are in earth, visible, invisible, whether thrones, dominions, principalities, powers, all things were created by him and for him. He is before all things, and by him all things consist. He is the head of the body, the house, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have preeminence. So when you're a part of the house or the assembly of the firstborn, if you would, that means that you are part of someone who has preeminence or is excelling over everyone. And that's exactly what the law said about a firstborn son. This is the beginning of my strength. He will excel over everyone. That's just how that works. When you receive his spirit, you become a firstborn son, because he said you become under the adoption where you cry out, Abba. See, when you don't have it, you're not his son. What's wrong with her? Let me give you that verse I'm talking about. Galatians 4. That's what I'm referencing for. You are the beginning of my strength, the excellency of my dignity. Firstborn son is the beginning of a man's strength. Irregardless of, now it's different because he's talking about the only begotten son. So Yahusha is the only beginning of his strength. But Jacob had 2. Some men had 4, 5. You know what I'm saying? But we done discussed that before. Adam had basically had 2, because he got Seth to replace Abel, and that became the beginning of the strength. Cain got canceled out because he was of the wicked one, because he was of the devil, because he was filled up with covetousness, jealousy, envy, and murder. That's why Cain is not mentioned in his genealogy, not because what stupid dude saying that Eve had sex with Satan. He blotted himself out the book. See, that's a whole nother conversation, man. Then you sit back and you can read, right, where he talk about names being written. As a matter of fact, we just read it. He said, a just men made perfect, whose names are written in heaven. Cain got his name blotted out. You don't get listed in the genealogy of the righteous when you do wickedness. You get blotted out. That's why when you read in Exodus and he say, blot me out your book what I've written, he said, he that sinned against me, I'll blot out my book. So when Cain committed murder, he can't be numbered with the righteous. This is what I mean by dudes is dumb and go out here talking about she had sex with Satan. No, you idiot. When he said he's of the wicked one, he said you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. Cain showed himself to be of the devil based off his work. Your brother was more righteous than you. You envied him. You coveted after that, and it led you to murder. I cannot number you among the righteous, because the genealogy in Genesis 5 is literally sons of Elohim, as you can see that in Luke chapter 3. So how is he going to name somebody who committed murder amongst the righteous? That's foolish. See, only men would do that, because most men won't disown a disobedient and rebellious son. You'll still claim it. You know what I'm talking about? That's my boy. I don't got no son. My son come home, tell me he's a rump ranger. You ain't got no daddy. You ain't got no family. Get your sissy behind from around here. My daughter come home and say she a whore. You ain't got no daddy. And if your mama feels sorry for you, she can get a funky behind out with you. You know what I'm talking about? If my son come in there, I'm knocking him hold down, daddy. You ain't got no daddy. And don't bring your funky behind back around here. You know what I'm talking about? Till you get your mind right and your soul tight. We don't do that here. Oh, just don't think if the little girl a whore that the son get a pass, he can get his butt out too. We don't rock with none of that. You know what I'm talking about? And think you got a daddy. Oh, my child can do anything. No, the hell you can't. You can do anything, but that don't mean I'm rocking with you. That don't mean I'm dealing with you. You getting out. You can't live here. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you repent, son, you can always come back. But if you want to live foul, you got to go. And I don't care how nobody feel about that, because Yahuwah come before a child. See, you got to understand something, right? I don't put no child before me. I don't put my wife before me. Because they of me. So how I'm going to put them before me? That's insane. You ain't even here without me. I'm the foundation of everything you got going on. You know what I'm talking about? I am the foundation of everything you got going on. The child is my seed. I'm not putting my seed before me. My job is to prepare you to continue my legacy. If you don't want to do it, then I'm going to move you on about your business. I brought the woman in to help build my legacy. And if you don't want to participate in that, then you can move on about your business. Because the minute you go to put them before you, that means you're going to put them before Yahuwah. Because the only person supposed to come before you is Yahuwah, and you the head of the house. So how am I going to put a woman and some children before me? That's insane. You know what I'm talking about? That's see, you got a difference of sacrificing for your family versus putting them before you. See, there's a difference. See, you sacrifice your family for your family in order to say, I'll put my needs behind theirs if it's something that they need versus something that I want. That's what he meant. He said that I came to be not to be served, but to serve. This is my household. This is my kingdom. Of course, they're going to serve me, but as the leader of the household, I have to serve them. And if it's certain sacrifices I need to make that's going to benefit them, then I'm going to do that. But I'm not going to put them before me. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah's not doing that. Yahuwah has never put you before him. Because when I put you before me, that means I have to compromise my ideals. I have to compromise my standards. I have to compromise my rules in order to placate you, and I'm not going to do it. You ever seen Yahuwah do that? Do you understand what message that sends to your family? You'll break your code for them. So now they can't respect your leadership. You're not a man of your word. You don't really about what you're talking about, so I don't have to listen to you anymore. Can't do it. But like I said, we don't have enough wisdom to understand there's a difference for sacrificing and serving your family and putting them before you. As a man, you should serve your household in the capacity that the leader of the household is supposed to do it. You're supposed to sacrifice for your family. Mashiach already showed you that. You know what I'm talking about? But in the midst of sacrificing for his household, he never put his household before him. He never did that. But he served his household. He sacrificed for his household. Someone sitting there, son. The standard has been set on how you're supposed to behave. See, we are actually even supposed to look at the dynamic of him operating as forth as your husband or your leader or your brother on how he actually behaved to our people. And then you can see this is how a man is supposed to behave. And guess what? He did it in the first half of the book. Most people just not skilled enough to pay attention to it. You know what I'm talking about? He sacrificed and he did all of these things. Yahuwah never put Yashar'al before his interests. When he brought you up out that wilderness, brought you in that wilderness, that man let you know, I come first. What did he tell you? I'm Yahuwah your Elohim, have what? No gods before me. So once he gave you that instruction, he was letting you know, I'll never put you in front of me. Because I'm telling you, don't put nobody in front of me. So how am I going to put you in front of me? That is insane. You might help me. How am I going to put the helper before me? That's crazy as all out there. You know what I'm talking about? What does that mean, putting them before you? Putting their interests before your vision and plan. Can't do it. Because at that point, then it's no longer your vision and plan. That means their will supersede your will. That's what I mean by not putting them before you. Because if the person doesn't want to be a part of your will, then they have to move along. So when you see that and you coming to Yahuwah, you saying, I want to enter into covenant with you. You're saying exactly what Yahusha said when he was about to die. Not my will be done, your will be done. because I have bought into your vision. It's not about my vision. I'm trying to come one with you so I can be a part of that assembly of the firstborn so that I can dwell in your house. Have y'all ever seen a man and a woman live in a house and they had competing visions? The woman wanted to do one thing, the husband wanted to do another. It sounds good in modern times. She got her career and she do all that, but it's destructive and chaotic to the offspring. It's for them to operate properly when it's time for them to do the same thing. It can only be one vision, and it has to be unified in the household. If everybody's not on the same page, disorder is soon to follow. And that's why the world is in utter disarray now, because two people are competing against one another to perform what they want to perform, and I don't care what this man wants. Because generally speaking, most men don't care about what a woman wants to do if it's not in line with what he wants to accomplish, because it doesn't benefit him. So why would he care? It doesn't benefit me. Most people want to do stuff to benefit them. It's not for the family. A lot of stuff that women want to do, it's not for the family. It's for you to feel independent of your husband. I'm my own person. I have my own life. Then you should have stayed by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Same token with you. You can't come to what he told you. Can't have two masters because you're going to love one or despise the other. And that's what I mean by competing visions. You're going to love your vision and despise his. That's not going to be for harmony and love in a household. I can tell you that right now.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not. Now, if a man say, baby, you can go do what you want to do, and I'm cool with that, that's fine. Every man is different. Every man don't want the same thing. But if you a man and you got a plan and a vision for your way in your house, then that's just what it is. And either she can rock with it or not. And Yahuwah has a plan and a vision, and it's for you to walk around the highway of Kadash and be sanctified by the faith in his son and to fulfill his will in the confines of that. And if you don't want to do it, then he just going to tell you move along. Because at the end of the day, nobody is forced to do anything. Everybody has a choice. Now, you may not like your choices, but you got one. You know what I'm talking about? Galatians 4, you can pick it up at verse 1. Now I say, the heir, as long as he is a child, differ nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all. But is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. Even so, when we were children, we were in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of time was come, Elohim sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that they might receive the adoption of sons. Because you were sons, Elohim sent forth the ruach of his sons into your heart, crying, Abba. Wherefore you are no more a servant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of Elohim through Mashiach. That is the key component on assembly of the firstborn. Who is the only child that can inherit from his father? The firstborn. Let me get you Revelation 21:7, man. Keep it all the way loud.
I was also curious about Genesis 32. When Jacob had his family go past through the brook.
Pastor what?
Passed through the brook before he met Esau.
Oh, I mean, that was because Esau wanted to kill him.
Right. But his family went before him.
No, but he eventually told him to go. He put him behind him. And he put Rachel and her kids all the way in the back. Because if anybody was to get killed, let the mother children get killed first. Basically, let Leah children get killed first. Because I don't really care about them in comparison to Rachel's children. I mean, I care about my kids, but I love Rachel's children more than I love theirs. That's why a lot of women also can't deal with the fact if we was dealing in the actual, we just said this before. People like to hear, but it is what it is. If you're dealing with the will of Yahuwah, it's one man, one woman based on Adam and Eve and Yahusha being the second Adam, and he got one wife, and that's Yashar'al. But a man's natural nature is to desire more than one woman. Most men just suppress that because, hey, you told her that's why dudes lie. They had 3-4 different chicks and they lie and say, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, I told y'all this before. If you look a woman in the face and say she the only one and you go deal with another woman, you a buster because you ain't a man of your word. If that ain't what you wanted, you should have told her that. Point blank, period. If that ain't what you wanted, that's cheating then because you're not an honorable man. You're not a man of your word. You told this woman this is what it was and that's what it wasn't. You a buster. But if you was up front and say, oh, I'm going to have me 3-4 other women, then shoot, she got a choice to roll with it or not. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. Because why would you look somebody in the face? You my only one. What if you who had told you, y'all my only people, but he got the Moabites on the side? You know what I'm saying? He got the Canaanites on the side, but he told you was the only one though. That's not respectable. But if that man look you in the face and say, "Hey man, I'm gonna get me another one," the choice is with you if you gonna rock with that, because you don't have to. But if you chose to do it and you complain, you a special type of stupid, because that man had already told you what it was. And most dudes have a desire. I'm not even talking about a desire for sex. Most dudes just have a desire to deal with another woman. For whatever reason, he want to deal with it. Me, myself, shoot, I'm good on that. I remember telling my homeboys, they was like, man, we could get multiple wives. I'm talking about 3-4 different women in your house on their cycle. I'm straight. You know what I'm talking about? I'm straight. Because you got to be a certain type of dude to deal with that many different women. And to deal with their nature, their personalities, their emotions, and all of that. Don't y'all know? I told y'all this before. Y'all know the relationships that have the highest rate of domestic violence? Lesbians. Because you got two women dealing with each other. A woman has no idea what it's like to deal with a woman till she got to deal with a woman. Y'all think men this, that, there, and the third? Absolutely not. That's propaganda. Women are very difficult creatures to deal with because of the high volatility of their emotional state. You know what I'm talking about? It ebbs and flows in the midst of a day, much less day to day. So you have to be a certain type of dude to be able to manage that. Most men in this society are not raised to have the patience to deal with one woman's emotional ups and downs, much less 4 or 5. That's why you always hear your man say he don't want to live with no woman. Because truth be told, depending on your level of wealth in our culture, your wives didn't even live in the same house as you. You had a spot over there, you stayed over there. And I was also, because on top of you on your cycle, I don't even want that in my house. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody didn't have those means to pull that off, but that's how they live. That's a new thing when you're talking about sharing a bed with a woman, sharing a house with a woman. And people didn't do that in ancient times. Most men, I want to get the hell away from her. And I only really want to deal with her when it's time to procreate. I don't really want to sit around and go on dates and look her in the face and talk to her and all this other type of stuff. That's modern. That's not how they live. That's not mean to mean that they disrespected their wives or didn't like to spend time with them. But it's not like what you see now. I'm just talking about in ancient times. It's not like what you see now. Most men did not spend an inordinate amount of time with their wife. They were doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the most of the time they spent with their wife was to make children. You know what I'm saying? And when they had free time, as they tell you in Solomon, rejoice with the wife of your youth. That's your wife. You ought to be happy and have good times with your wife when you afford it to be able to do so. But I'm talking about in modern times where it's pressed like you have to spend all this time with this woman. You have to do this, that, there, and the third. They didn't live like that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't live like that. That's not necessarily how they live. That's not everybody, but in general, they didn't live like that. None of Solomon's wives lived in his house. Y'all do know that. You read the book, he had a separate house for all them women, all 1,000. All 1,000 of them. They didn't live with him.
It was like that with Jacob, too. They said
Yeah.
they had their own tent.
Yeah, Rachel and Leah didn't live in the same tent with Jacob. They were separate from him. Like, you go to the I don't get to sleep next to my husband. So didn't. Them niggas like this here. You got your own spot. Stay over there. If we went back to a time like that, most of these women lose their minds. I can't sleep next to you? Hell no. I built a house just for you. Stay over there. 21 and 4. Now, I'm not telling y'all to do nothing. I'm just telling you how the world was versus how it is now. It's different. Because we had this conversation before. If you were raised in a society where men have more than one wife, it wouldn't bother you because that would be all that you knew. You would be accustomed to. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we live, so you're not going to be accustomed to that. So I would understand the pushback that a woman would have with that. I'm not you're bringing something to me that's foreign. I don't like it. I don't want to accept it. That should be a given. It's not how they live. It's not how we live. You know what I'm saying? So I just say that because most brews, these wicked women. Well, she don't know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you got 5, 6 generations in a society where that's being done, she would be accustomed because she would have seen it from multiple different angles to the point that when it's brought to her, it's not going to be foreign. This is how we live. That's not how we live. But like I said, man, you look a woman in the face and say, you my only woman, and you go get another woman, you a buster. You know what I'm talking about? You's a real live sucker. You a dishonorable man. At the end of the day, as a man, what's the only thing you got? Your word. So if that was your word, nigga, keep your word. 21-4, man. Elohim shall wipe away tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things have passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. He said unto me, right, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I'm the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. And I will give unto him that is athirst the fountain of water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. Only firstborn sons inherit. That's the only ones that inherit. So when you come into Yahushua, then you can inherit. But let's get back to Psalms 8. We was in the verse referring to the solemn feast. Verse 4. Now y'all know that the blowing of the trumpet is for every feast. It's not just for trumpets. Y'all do know that, right? Michael, you know that? How you know that? And how do you know that? That doesn't answer my question. I'm being ever so serious. Like, how do you know that? You got the book in your hand, and I'm asking you this. I'm being dead serious. I'm not being funny. And how would you know that?
Exactly like where it is.
Eric, can you help out with that? Blowing that, if blowing a trumpet is just not on the day of trumpets, where would you go to be able to say, I know that the trumpet has to be blown for X, Y, Z? I'm asking this because it's needful for you to know. That's why that's letting you know all the time I would be in dead serious. What'd you say, son? What'd you say? I can't hear you, son. No, if you had an answer, you can say what you had to say, son. I didn't hear you. I can't understand you, son. Speak up. Well, what did you say the first time? But you said something before that, though. You said Adam? Oh, you said you didn't know. What you said? You had an idea. How about you, Monte? You know where we can find that at? Revelation, you say? No, that's not where we're going to find that at. You know where we can find that at, sir?
All of the locations.
That is correct. Who knows the location of what he's referring to? That is where it's at. It's Numbers 10. That's how you know that. Come look at Numbers 10. Remember, because we had a dispute about this. You remember? It was funny.
Right? Oh, we missed that. Yeah.
Oh, you weren't there for that.
No, you walked right after.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Hey, I can cut the picture with a knife.
And this is where the dispute came in at. And I've said this before. I don't care about you blowing a ram's horn. But if you so adamant about the law, and then you blow a trumpet at a specific time, and he said you're supposed to have a trumpet made out of pure silver, well, you're going to hell, boy. And you know why you're going to hell? Not because you blew the trumpet. What does the law say in Leviticus 19? Whoso keep the law is a debtor to keep the whole thing. Yes, sir. Oh, right. Now, see, that's something different. That's an old lesson. That's in the archives. Those 7 trumpets are similar to the 7 trumpets that were blown to cause Jericho to fall. You know what I'm talking about?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? That's in the archive. That's a long time ago. That's about a good 7 years ago. At this point, that's about a good 7 years. I remember, matter of fact, now that I'm talking about it, I remember when that one came across my desk and what I was thinking about at the time. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, I think that was right after your mans was trying to flex, right before we went up there, thinking I was some type of Rudy Poop. You know what I'm talking about? Like I ain't really had no dope. See, I don't appreciate that. See, he sided me like I ain't had no dope. But he ain't know I've been selling dope for years. I cook my own crack. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know how to cook your own coke, might be some grams missing. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing missing over here, man. You know what I'm talking about? I dropped the whole 28, it bounced back. We don't lose nothing. You know what I'm talking about?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm real now.
That's the best.
But you know a lot of brews, they blow the Rams horn.
That's right.
If you blow the Rams horn for a calling of assembly, you're going to hell. And you're not going to hell because of the Rams horn. That is not what he told you to do according to the law. See, you know what a nigga hit you with? Well, it translates to show. I don't care what it translates to, what that law say. But you know why brews blow the Rams horn? Because a pure silver trumpet costs a whole lot of money. Now, we're going to read it in Numbers 10. 2 silver trumpets. That's what you got to have now. If you're going to do it, you got to do it how he said do it or don't do it at all. That's what, hey, talk to him. I told him that night, did I not? I said, what happened with David when they were bringing the Ark of the Covenant up and Buddy died? He said, we didn't do it after the due order. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not ridiculing. My point is, don't scream law, and then when it's time to do it, like he said, do it, and then you got a reason why you can't do it. You a buster. Leave them Christians alone, leave them people alone, because you don't even do it. That's why he say, you talk about Moses and you don't even keep the law. That's why he told them that. That's why I tell the niggas, we gonna camp out? Nigga, you gonna build it like he told you to build it? No, man, we gonna get in the tent. But see, you won't keep it seriously. I'm not finna tell them people they keep trumpets and you went and got a Coleman tent from Walmart, nigga. He told you what to do. If you ain't gonna do it like he said do it, then don't even do it at all. That man told you, he told you to build a booth, not buy a tent. You know what I'm talking about? But you know why they want to buy a tent? Because they're missing the point of what the booth's supposed to represent. The booth's supposed to represent a temporary body, just like you waiting for your tabernacle from heaven. But they can't catch that because they worry about camping out, acting like we living off the land. Sit your stupid behind down somewhere. Go get you a nap. Nigga, make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Get yourself together. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I told you earlier. I don't care if you camp out, but I'm not going to say, oh, we got to camp out for what? Because ain't nobody got none of them palm trees, none of them leaves to do that like he said do it. Because if you're going to do the law, you a debtor to the whole thing. That means tonight we would have had to put blood on them doorposts. You understand me? And we were supposed to get a lamb, firstborn, without blemish, and kill him on the 10th day of the first month. So that means if you doing all that, Mashiach is of none effect to you. His sacrifice is vain. That's why we don't do. You gonna make the bitter herbs for what? I don't need no bitter herbs, boy. What's wrong with you? And you think you righteous? We got the bitter herbs. We doing this and we doing that. You a damn fool. What you is, and you don't even know it. But see, when I talk like that, brews get offended. You know what I do? I talk like it more. You know what I'm talking about? Because I don't care. You make that booth out there is of none effect to you as far as his Mashiach is concerned. He didn't say making a booth going to justify many. He said knowledge of my righteous servant is going to make many righteous. That's what the prophecy said. See, we don't frustrate the mercy of Elohim by trying to do all this, that, there, and the third. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what I mean. These niggas don't keep no law. Because all this stuff he say to do, these niggas don't do. But then ridicule somebody for doing something. Oh, you eat pork. Well, nigga, where your silver trumpets at? Oh, see, you don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm talking about? Why you ain't put the blood on the doorpost? Oh, we eat lamb for Passover. You don't know where that lamb came from. You bought that out the freezer section. That could have been a female lamb. You don't know what type of lamb that was. And you just can't go get it. You got to take him and kill him on a specific day. And he got to be without blemish. You don't even know that. If you're going to do it, then do it right. And Yahuwah said that. You are in debt to keep the whole thing. So if you don't want to deal with Mashiach, he ain't no effect to you, boy, you going to hell. You ain't a part of the house of the firstborn.
Take that free gift.
They don't take that free gift. Can't take no gift. Pervert the right. Dumb bastard. That's why I talk like that. Because, boy, I take this seriously. This ain't no game for me. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this a long time. I was doing this before there was a camera on. Oh, my goodness. She don't know what to do. Take her to the bathroom. She was just looking dazed and confused. Poor baby. And I'm telling you this here for you to understand how great you like to say, right? And of course, we're not reading all through it. Do you understand? You were here this evening because it was a sacrifice of a lamb that was pointing to a greater sacrifice later. And the sacrifice was to free you from bondage. He that commits sin is the servant of sin. He's saying if the Son shall set you free, you will be free. And that man set you free from the Egypt, the house of bondage, showing you from the bondage of sin, and you around here talking about some damn ram's horns. You know what I'm talking about? This is what these dudes be out here talking about, man. That junk is disrespectful to Elohim. You understand me? Man, look here, man. If you ain't understood the goodness of his mercy, you ain't gonna feel what I'm talking about. You ain't gonna understand what I'm talking about. That junk bigger than, oh, we Hebrews and this, that, there, and the third. Do you understand, boy, you was mired in death? We just read it earlier, did we not? You pining away in your sins, you're decaying, you're rotting away in them. When you were in Egypt, you were rotting away in bondage. These people were making your life a living hell. And you dealing with it now. But the only difference is you got a little bit more indulgence. You got a little bit more amenities. So you feel like it's good. You don't understand what it is to be free. See, if you ain't never been free from sin, they ain't gonna relate to you. Dudes who ain't never been free from sin, they can't. When we talk about free from sin, he say what a Ruach Elohim is, what Ruach Mashiach, there is liberty. There's freedom in that. Not freedom to do what you want, but freedom is the freedom that Elohim gives you to live liberally and freely in him. And the shackles of death are no longer upon your head, and you no longer have the anxiety like we talked about a couple weeks ago about death. Remember we were talking about we were shaping in iniquity, and that was dealing with the anxiety of the punishment. The anxiety of the punishment no longer exists. The anxiety of being in bondage in Egypt no longer existed when the Passover lamb was offered. That's why Yahuwah was offended when he said it was better for us to go back there. Numbers 10, man. Man, let Yahuwah be esteemed. These dudes think it's a game. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you, man. You know, these boys know because I done did it. He know I done been up on dudes. They got 5, 6 dudes. It's just me. I shut them all down by the grace of Elohim. Man, shut your mouth. They be like, I don't like how he talks. So what? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, yeah, I had to get them boys. They were lucky Yahuwah made my voice go away. Because they were going to get that work even worse. For talk. And you know why I did that? Because the nigga was showing subs at me while I was standing right there. He ain't had the heart and the courage to say something to me directly. He wanted to start something with another nigga who was there. I say, nah, once he did that there, I say, come on, my G. If you had something to say to me, you could have been the man and said it. Now I don't respect you. That's why I did him like that. That's why I did him like that. Because if you was there in person, you know what he was doing. You talking about me while I'm standing right there, but you ain't got the intestinal fortitude to say, I'm talking to you. So then right then, I know you a bussy. So I'm going to handle you like one. I'm going to handle you like one. Because you being indirect and I'm standing right there. If you stand on the word, then stand on what you teach it. Because I'm going to stand on mine. I'm going to stand on mine anywhere, anytime, to anybody. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure, boy, Yahuwah weren't faithful. It ain't going to fail. Numbers 10 and 1. Who that is making all that noise? That's your boy? You ain't going to talk to him? You a hard father. You a hard father. Little Boop seen her God, brother. She seen it. You seen it? She can't see. Little Boop can't see. I'm sitting there looking at her. She might got my daddy afro too. That nigga head definitely looked like that before he lost it. It do. She got to get that from her mama. She ain't get it from me. Number 10 and 1. Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, make you 2 trumpets of silver. A whole piece shall you make them, that you may use them for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of the camps. That's over. When you blow the trumpet on the new moon, that's called you blowing that for the calling of the assemblies. You're supposed to blow that on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be done. You ain't supposed to blow no ram's horn. But ram horns are cheap. They're easily accessible. It's not to say that you can't do one, but you can't do it for the calling of an assembly. And when you shall blow with them, then the assembly shall assemble themselves to you at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. But if they blow with one, then the princes, the heads of the house of Yashar'al, shall gather themselves unto you. And when you blow the alarm, then the camp shall lie on the east parts and shall go forward. And when you blow alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey, and they shall blow an alarm for their journey. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, you shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm. See, you know what them 7 trumpets is? An alarm. But that's not the last one. You know what I'm talking about? But see, that's a whole nother deal. That's a whole nother conversation. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. Go on, let me read you verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days, and if your solemn days, what we just talked about, feast day. And in the beginning of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Yes, they actually had to make a trumpet out of a whole piece of silver, and they actually have one. Yes, sir. Yeah, they actually did. Exactly what you've seen in that first part of that verse, of that chapter, is exactly what they had to do. It was a very detailed and specific instruction. You know what I'm talking about? And a dude got offended because he was like, man, I don't like that you said that. I say, very well then, sir. Bring forth your evidence. Because it's fine if you say, I don't agree with that. I'm going to give you the opportunity to bring forth your evidence. I ain't going to say, nigga, you wrong. Shut your mouth. Okay, if you believe that what I said was incorrect, bring forth your precepts and we can have a conversation. We men here, that's not a big deal. My manhood ain't going to feel less because you said I don't agree with that. But you better make sure you better have your bullets in order when you say it. Don't come at me with your thoughts, your feelings, or your opinions. Have your precepts in line. We can go through them and we can have a conversation. Every man is due that respect. If he feel like something is wrong, okay, that's fine. We can have that conversation. I'm just letting that be known because I know some people be in spots and they be like, oh, if you do that, he going to go off and say, no. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you that's not going to happen. We all men here. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like, hey, I don't agree with that, that's fine. Make sure you got what you need. See, he ain't had nothing. See, I got mine. I keep mine on deck. I never leave the house without my file. And I keep a full clip. You know what I'm talking about? I don't need to do no studying or this, that, there, and I ain't got to do none of that. But if you need to do that, that's fine. Just make sure when you come, you got your work in order. And we can have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, and we can have it on tape. Don't make no difference. We can have that conversation. That's not a big deal. Most dudes don't have their stuff in order. And they just want to debate on how they feel or what they think. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. What does book say? That book said that thing got to be a silver trumpet, whole piece. That's what it is. Can't be nothing else. I don't care you can't afford. Then guess what? Just don't blow one. See how easy that is? Get your money up, buy you one, 2 of them specifically, and then you can do that. You can't do that? Shut your mouth. You don't keep no law. You a liar. And the truth ain't in you. You know what I'm talking about? Back to Psalms 81. Yeah, he was looking ugly. It's on there somewhere. All you got to do is just pull in the trumpet. You'll see it. It was live. It happened live now. What we talking about, the dispute I'm discussing, it happened live. It's on camera. It's in the archives. It's on there. Feature trumpets. Straight up and down. I went down. That was your people worked that out to get that spot winning down.
Blue Cypress.
At Blue Cypress. That boy was sitting in the back looking dumb like a buffalo mule. You know what I'm talking about? But one thing about it, boy, I'm nice with mine. So you better make sure if you come correct. You know what I'm talking about? Because if it's wrong, I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't like, all right, it's wrong. But that don't happen too often. Not because I'm nice, because Yahuwah is. My personal opinion don't matter. Because me personally, I don't care nothing about no nigga blowing no ram's horn. What I care for, what that mean to me? You know what I'm talking about? You think I'm losing sleep? These niggas out here blowing ram's horns. I don't care. Verse 3. Same token I told you before. I don't care if dudes believe in multiple wives. I don't care. I ain't got to sleep with them. I ain't got to be with them. We don't rock with it. That's your business. Y'all going off on women for wearing pants. Hey, bro, if that's not what you rock with, bro, I ain't losing no sleep about that. We ain't going to do it. You can do whatever you want. We just don't promote that. It's just that simple. I'm not going to look at you funny. I ain't going to have no beef with you. I ain't going to be like, I can't deal with you because you. It's not that serious. We just don't do that over here. And that's it. We just had a conversation with a dude like that. Like, niggas got beef with each other because they don't have the same doctrine. I'm not beefing with you. We just don't see that the same. That's what you do over there. That's what you do over there. We don't do that over here. That's it. It's not that deep. It's really not. You know what I'm talking about? The only thing that get deep is when you go to disrespecting the Lord. Then we got a problem. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast. Notice that he's really talking about three different things. New moon, time appointed, feast day gathering. It's three different things. It's not one thing going in. It's three different things. Because I didn't read that verse, but you're supposed to blow that on the new moon. I think I did read it. If I didn't, I can't remember. My mind back. Verse 4. For this was a statute for Yashar'al, a law of the Elohim of Jacob. We just read that, number 10. That is a law. Now we get to the fun stuff. This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went through the land of Egypt. I heard a language I understood not. Y'all know that that's a testimony in Egypt. Y'all aware of that? You aware of that? You aware? Talk to me then. Somebody tell me about the blowing of the trumpets in Egypt with Joseph. I need somebody to tell me about it. Nobody. It's all right. I know you didn't. I just be looking at you because your faces are hilarious. And they told you properly. Don't take you? Oh, you go. No, we would. You know, you're going to lose everybody money. Because when I say that boy wanted to, you look at you, boy, if we'd have had your face on tape, that was some humor. And you wasn't being funny. Oh, no. You got to look at it right. I'm going to read it again. Verse 5. This he ordained in Joseph. That means that he appointed this in Joseph long before blowing the trumpets was even a thing. Let me give you the word for ordained now. Ordained is sum, shan, and mean. That's to put, the place, to set, to appoint, to establish, to determine, and to fix. I'm gonna give y'all a second before I go on here and make it do what it do, how it needs to be done. But I want to see if y'all can come on through with the play. What's up, Eugene? I ain't seen you all day. You been all right? Mm-hmm. You living a dream? All right, just hold on. It's gonna come to you in a second. I'm gonna give you a second to think on it, because what's gonna throw you is you're gonna be looking for trumpet and you're not gonna see it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep, you're gonna be in Genesis 41. But okay, I'll take you to Psalms 114 for now. Before we go over there. Because you also got to take into part, of course, is I was amongst the people whose language I didn't understand. Because even when you came over here and in every place you've been scattered, you were among the people whose language you didn't understand. And he told you that in Deuteronomy 28. Verse 1 of Psalms 114, when Yashar'al went out of Egypt, the house of Jacob, from a people of a strange language. Now, of course, when you're dealing with a strange language in this instance is la'az, and that's a foreign tongue, to speak indistinctly, to speak unintelligibly. Yehuda was his sanctuary, Yashar'al his dominion. The sea saw it and fled, and Jordan was driven back. The mountains skip like rams and the little hills like lambs. What you, O you see, that you fled, you Jordan, that you were driven back. You mountains that skip like rams, you little hills like lambs. Tremble you earth at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the Elohim of Jacob, which turned the rock into standing water, a flint into fountains of waters. Now see, this is where it's going to throw you, because this is where the skill come in at. Number one, when you came up out of Egypt, he didn't split the Jordan River. What river did he split? The Sea of Reeds, the Red Sea. Alicia mentioned it earlier. Who split the Jordan River? Yahusha, son of Nun, split the Jordan River. And he said, you went through it. And he asked to see what ailed him. Then you get to verse 7, and it say, the earth should tremble at the presence of the Lord, the Master, the Elohim of Jacob. Then it talked about how he took a rock and turned against standing water, which is something you mentioned earlier. It seems like this makes absolutely no sense at all, but it makes all the sense in the world. Now, I want you to come to Genesis 41, which is mentioned, because you're going to be looking for a trumpet, and you're not going to see a trumpet. You're going to see a different word. But it was the note that it was appointed or ordained in Joseph, excuse me. Genesis 41. So we ain't going to read all this stuff with the dream and whatnot. Go ahead, man. Let me know what's on your mind. Yeah, that's what that's referring to. That's what it's literally referring to. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you know what was Moses supposed to do?
Speak to the rock.
He was supposed to speak to the rock. But then also remember this here, when Yahushua come back, there'll be a fountain of waters emanating from the throne. You recall from Zechariah 14, Ezekiel 47. So follow me here, because he said this was a statute ordained in Joseph. That means this was appointed before this law was given. But you're going to have to get some understanding in what we finna read to see how it was appointed. And let's do that. Now remember, Joseph was where? In a strange land. How did he get there? He was sold by who? And then they threw him where? Where there was no what? Which is symbolic of what? The grave. And then symbolic of, then who came and got him out of the grave, right? They came and got him out of the grave. He resurrected from the dead. He ended up working for somebody. And what happened? He got falsely charged. What did he say to that woman when she kept trying to get that doggone kielbasa from him? What did he say to her?
My master is preparing nothing from me, held nothing from me but you.
But you. And he said and what did he say he would not do? He said, I will not disobey or violate the instructions of my Elohim. See, that goes to the point where they be like, the law wasn't until Moses. You a fool. What type of father wouldn't have rules for his house? See, the laws that were given to Yashar'al, the laws that always existed, that was a covenant agreement. I'm taking you as my wife. Ezekiel 16 show you that. I'm taking you as my wife. My rules and instructions have existed from the time that I manifested myself. You got to be a fool to think a man of honor and respect don't have no rules that he governed himself by. See, men say that because they are less than honorable men who have nothing of which they govern themselves by. See, there's ways to tell if you're dealing with a man of honor. Because a man of honor wouldn't even say, it wasn't no law till Moses. That's a dishonorable man. That's a man who has no rules of which he governs himself by. You know what I'm talking about? Every man's supposed to have rules that he govern himself by. That's why I have extreme level of contempt for men who don't. You know what I'm saying? Or profess that they live by certain rules and standards and violate those codes of honor and manhood. I no longer respect you as a man. You are no longer deemed to be worthy to be in my company. And that's word or not. You know what I'm talking about? You got to remain sucker free, man. You got to be buster free. You don't keep no busters around you, man. The book tell you that. Don't blessed is he that don't sit in the seat of the scornful. Hang with no busters. You know what I'm talking about? Let them busters go. We sucker free. That man, that's what he told you to do. Am I lying? This is what the word tell you to do now. He didn't tell you to hang out with no suckers and no busters. You know what I'm telling you? So I won't even know an evil man. Oh, let me get it to you. He done said it. I'm going to give it to you because I feel like being a nigga today. Psalm 101. I feel like being a little ignorant. Not ignorant like we don't know, but ignorant is being disrespectful. Disrespectful to a fool. Psalm 101. I ain't got no problem being disrespectful to a fool. Fools ought to be disrespected. You ain't worthy of respect. See, a lot of men feel like they should be respected by the fact that you a man, but you ain't a man of respect or honor. So why should you be respected? And I ain't talking about being respected in the manner of just being outright belligerent or rude in your speech. You know, and I ain't saying rude in speech like people like to misuse with that. Because if you don't know what that means, that translates in Greek unlearned. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about because when it comes to this area, you have to be disrespected with proper information. That's what I mean by disrespecting you. You're not worthy of respect of actually being, because this is how the Lord deals with the scribe. You are not worthy of me taking the time to instruct you for your benefit. I must disrespect you with the word by showing your folly dead to your face and do with it what you will. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I mean by disrespecting them with the word. Psalms 101, because the word gonna disrespect them because it's gonna cut their heart. I will sing of mercy and of judgment unto you, O Yahuwah, will I sing. Listen, I will behave myself wisely in a what? Perfect way. Oh, will you come unto me? I will walk within my house with a what? Perfect heart. That takes us back to creating me a clean heart. When that clean heart is created, now you have a Tom heart. Let's make sure that Tom is the word, because y'all know about it. Because you know Jacob was a what? Dwelling where?
Plain.
Dwelling in where? And plain man translated to what? Perfect. Talk to him. That's what the words say. That ain't what I said. That what it said. So guess what that means? If you of Jacob, you a perfect man that dwell in a tent, mean you dwell in the sun. And you know, we got the extended version of Tom, Tamim, complete, whole, entire, sound, innocent, having integrity. See, that's what it means to be perfect. 36. It means to be innocent and to have integrity. 36. See, perfect ain't what people think that it means as far as when you see it in the text. It means that you have integrity. Integrity towards Yahuwah. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave unto me. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked. Froward meaning a perverse mind. Froward, if you didn't know, it is a cachet, a twisted, deserted, distorted, crooked, perverse, and perverted. People who like this here pervert righteousness. That's what he mean when he say a froward mind. You let somebody like to twist and distort things for your own benefit. Basically, the mind of Satan. When he says he will not know a wicked person, of course you should know is yada, and that means that I will not know by experience, acknowledge, or confess, or be acquainted with somebody who does wicked deeds. Whoso privily slander his neighbor, him will I cut off. Well, y'all know what slander is, right? According to the text. If you don't know, let me tell you. LaShawn, you like to accuse, slander. But notice he said, I won't accuse. See, when you're dealing with that, that's what they did to Mashiach. They accused their neighbor. That's why he cut them off. Him that have a high look and a proud heart will I not suffer. My eyes are upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walk in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that work deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that tell lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of Yahuwah. See, it's a lot of niggas, they like to tell lies. See, some dudes feel like I don't teach lies of doctrine, but you lie in real life, nigga. You a liar. You're dummy. You know what I'm talking about? Dudes be dummies in real life, don't even know it. You got dudes who feel like I don't lie in my doctrine, but you lie in real life. And they think that don't make no big deal. Let me tell you, man, when I say lie in real life, meaning their whole life is a lie. They live a lie. Man, don't you know when you lie to yourself enough, you go to believing it, you think you in reality. That's the definition of being turned reprobate. Now, we was also talking about Joseph, right? He went to jail and he had done nothing wrong, correct? Mm-hmm. He went to jail to not disobey Yahuwah. Sound like who? The Lord. So then when he was in jail, what was that representative of? Him being in the grave. Tell it to him out loud. Him preaching to the spirits in prison. You remember that verse where Peter said he preached to the spirits in prison? See, they know about this because we dealt with this. We've been dealing with this for years. It's at least about 7, 8 different locations where you can prove this. Here. But see, this is one of the verses. I'm saying this here because y'all might not be aware. Michael, you paying attention? Are you? Are you sure?
A little sleepy.
You look a little tired. You had a long day yesterday. But you got that money though. Okay then. You know what I'm talking about? They paid on time. I feel you because it's about 4 niggas owe me right now. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't being funny and I need mine. You know what I'm talking about? But all jokes aside, you got 1 Peter chapter 4. I want to say verse 6. Somebody can look to make sure that that's the proper verse. He said he preached to the spirits in prison. That is an example of, that's something that's in the New Testament that most people cannot explain. So when brothers read it and they go to asking questions about it and nobody can explain it, then they go to looking like, okay, this false. You understand? But when you see Joseph in the prison, what did he do? There was men who had dreams. They could not discern them. And he broke those dreams down to him. Matter of fact, what he said he seen in there, said he seen cups of wine, didn't he? You know what I'm talking about? Things of this sort. And it's symbolic of him preaching to the spirits in prison. And it's other places. Job 28. We go on for days. Ezekiel 31. It don't stop. It's plenty. You know what I'm talking about? And what did he say he preached to the spirits for? So they could be in the flesh, but live the Elohim and the Ruach. You understand? Because they did not get the benefit of hearing him from Genesis to Malachi as the apostles and those that came after them got to hear. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get to hear that. Abraham didn't hear that. David didn't hear that. You know what I'm saying? The men didn't hear that. He gave them an opportunity to get it because that's how just and righteous your Father in heaven is. You understand? But that's what he did. And after he preached to the spirits in prison, what ended up happening? He leaves prison. He comes up out of the grave. And that's where we get to the point of where we at in Genesis 41. So let's read. I just had to get the background, make it swift. Because even everything that we just mentioned is Passover. See, this, let me tell you something, right? We ain't never did it before. And maybe we won't be in Psalms 81 that long. Joseph's whole life is Passover. His whole life is Passover. The whole entire, once Joseph gets introduced, you are seeing the story of unleavened bread and Passover right there. It's right there. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I mean. Why would we read Exodus 12 every year when you can see Passover anywhere? If you have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to understand. Do y'all understand that Joseph's whole life is Passover? He was hated by his brothers for the words that he spoke. They plotted to kill him for the words that he spoke. They sold him to a strange nation for all this is based off the words that he spoke. You remember Genesis 37? They hated him for his dreams, did they not? Did he not tell them that they would bow down and give obeisances to him, which means he was saying he was a king? And what did Pilate say to him? They say if you were king. He said, who told you this? Who told you this? They say, you the king of the Jews. What did he put up there? This the king of the Jews. They say, right, he said I wrote what I wrote. You know what I'm talking about? He gets falsely accused of a crime that he did not do in order to incarcerate him, the same as the Lord. And then you're about to read that when he resurrected from the dead, he was lifted up to his station to be a ruler over all the land. And that's where you'll get that Psalms 114 and all that coming together. We finna read it right now. And that's where you get he ordained that trumpet in Joseph, because the trumpet is blown because you got to bow the knee. Let's roll with it though. Psalms 41 and 39. 38, actually, 37. This is Genesis 41. I said Psalms, my apologies, Genesis 41 and 37. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and the eyes of all his servants. Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom the Ruach of Elohim is? Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as Elohim have showed you all this, none is so discreet and wise as you. You shall be over my house. Hebrews 3 and 1. He says a man, let's just look at it. See, Lil Johnny told you, see, I'm just a little different because Lil Johnny know. Lil Muffin definitely know. Dwight certainly know. I give you a little bit more insight in this, that, there, and the third, because I can starve you to death, because I can hit you with 80, 85, no problem, and do it in under 2 hours. You know what I'm talking about? Really could do it an hour and a half. But when you come with that many verses back to back, it's hard for the understanding to stick. You know what I'm saying? What you say?
No, I'm talking to him.
Well, I said I would. Oh, Hebrews 3 and 1. And trust me, there's people in here who know. No less than 50. And some of them know when we was on that phone call and niggas ain't give me no answers, I got very rude and disrespectful because I would be offended. You know what I'm talking about? I would be offended because I hold individuals' ability to retain information in high regard. If I took the time to sit down and give you some information, I would expect for you to be able to remunerate it back. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I did it just 2 days before. See, that tell me one or two things. You ain't paying attention and you ain't paying attention. Hebrews 3 and 1. Wherefore, Kadash brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Mashiach Yahushua, who is faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house. For this man was counted worthy of more esteem than Moses, inasmuch as he who built the house have more honor than the house. Every house is builded by some. He that built all things is Elohim. Moses was truly faithful in all his house, a servant for a testimony of those things which are to be spoken after. See, that's a whole nother deal. Everything Moses did, Moses never did anything short of Yahuwah except for not speaking to the rock. That man was never unfaithful to that man. And Moses only didn't speak to the rock because he let the people get him angry. And that is another example of you always got to be in control of your emotions. Now, of course, Yahuwah didn't kill it, but he just like this here. Now, bro, you ain't sanctified me before these people, bro. Now, I can't let you in the land. I'll let you see it. I can't let you come in there. But also, it's a backstory behind that. He was only supposed to be the deliverer. See, Moses is supposed to show you in the aspect of the son of Adam, then passing it off to the son of God. You understand? See, Moses' whole story, see, this is another part to pick this up. Both of them are representative of Yahushua Hamashiach, the son of the living Elohim. You understand? But their stories were supposed. What did Moses do? When he slayed the 2 Egyptians, what was that pointing to? Him delivering the people from bondage. What did Moses end up doing? Leading his people out of bondage. And then he passed it off to Yahushua, son of Nun, for him to bring them into the promise. See, the son of Adam didn't bring you into the promise. He freed you from the captivity. Yahushua, son of Nun, or the son of Elohim is the one who bring you into the promise. You know what I'm saying? See, the son of God got to be the one to bring you into the promise. The son of Adam couldn't do that. That's why Moses can't come in, because flesh and blood cannot inherit. That's the point of that. That's the underlying message. You know what I'm talking about? He can't bring you in here. You know what I'm talking about? He's drawing the water. Now he give it off to salvation. Salvation bring you in. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all understand what I'm saying? That's why they split the sea for the people to cross over. That's why Yahushua, son of Nun, say all that stuff you did on the other side of the flood, leave that over there. That's why he said that he don't leave him as a sheep without shepherd. It's a pass off, because it's showing you spiritually, if you have eyes to see, the son of Adam turning into the son of Elohim to lead them in. That's why Yahushua, son of Nun, was the one to do it. That's why his name was changed from Jose to Yahushua. That's right. See, that's a whole nother deal. You know what I'm talking about? That's a whole nother deal. I remember talking about the twinkling. That's when dudes talking about, show me the gospel with Moses. And when he did this, I'm like, that doesn't be funny to me, because dudes would say that and be like, oh, you thought you going to stump me because you stumped the last 15 dudes. But I'm not them. Because by the goodness and mercy of Elohim, he know me and he hit me off. You know what I'm talking about? Remember, I didn't say that I know him. He know me. He said, I'm going to hit you off. Because see, if I say I know him, then that means there's something about me that made him want to do that. It's just his choice. Nobody is special. Its forth is on their face. Now, some people are special to Yahuwah, and some people are more special than others. Just let that be known. Remember, we had that conversation before. People like, you can't have a favorite child. Lying to me. Yahuwah got plenty. You know what I'm talking about? There's people that Yahuwah prefer over others. Don't mean he don't love you. We already read it in the text. Jacob loved Joseph more than all them children, and they knew it. Don't say you got to like it, but it is what it is. Most parents got a favorite child. They just don't say it out loud. If they got more than one, they keep it to themselves. But it gets shown. The other children know. You know what I'm saying? They know. Because they have those conversations amongst themselves. You know your daddy favorite. That's what they say to each other. They ain't going to say it to y'all. They definitely said it. They had a comment. They don't go to daddy, why Joseph your favorite? They talk about that amongst themselves. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It's reality. If you think you're doing that, see, we want to virtue signal and seem pious. I love all of my kids the same. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Don dudes be with that cap too. I love all my kids the same. No, you don't. They're not all the same. I don't know. I say they could, but I done heard most dudes don't have that conversation. But if you broach to the average man, or you got a favorite child, most of them ain't gonna say it unless they got all girls and one boy. Then they be like, shoot, my son. But if he got 4 or 5 boys, he may not say it out loud. You know the one who be his favorite if he got 4 or 5? The one he see that got the best potential to carry his legacy. Then he like, bump them niggas, they stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna focus on them.
Gotta keep it 100, bro.
Them too stupid. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about them. Pray for them. You know what I'm saying? But that one there, that's the one.
If I had to put all the chips up.
If I got to put all the chips up, pushing it over there to him. I'm just being honest with you now. I ain't gonna tell you no lies. Y'all know it. Y'all know it. You know what I'm saying? We all know it. It's reality. You know what I'm talking about? It's just reality, man. Because see, this is the difference. The woman don't have to pass a legacy on. So if you got multiple sons, you're really looking at, you want to give it to your firstborn, but you looking at, damn, that nigga stupid. I can't do it. I'm gonna go with the baby boy because he showed more. You can have a son, you want the older. Y'all done seen stories where they want the older son to do it, but it be the younger one who take to it, want to do it the most. And they want to try to push the older son to do it because you the firstborn, but he's a dummy or he don't want to do it. I'm gonna focus on the young one. Imagine how Donald Trump feel knowing his son, his namesake, do exactly what he told him to do, walk in the pathway he tell him to walk. See, everybody talk that trash. He brought his sons to the White House. Well, whole nigga, what he supposed to do? If I became president and I got a son in the NFL, you think I ain't taking it with me? Come on, man. He coming with me.
I always say about Trump that he was a stupid son. The older brother was a smart one.
Yeah, he did. But it doesn't matter. Come on. You know what I'm talking about? But of course, you know you're going to want to go with the son. He's smart. He can continue my legacy. He got my name, but he a dummy. And Solomon told you about that. You don't know if you're going to leave it to a wise man or a fool. This is vanity and vexation of spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how men feel. I got to leave something. He got to continue my work. See, women, you don't have no work. So you don't care. You're going to I'm going to leave cooking and cleaning behind you, baby. I'm going to show you how to use that pine saw. You know what I'm saying? You don't care about that. That's not at the forefront of your mind. That's not at the forefront of your mind. And we had this conversation before because you don't want to work for the rest of your life. Only these new modern women want to do that. I'm a queen. I'm a boss. I'm building this, that, there, and the third. To leave it to who, ho? You don't even hear them talk about leaving nothing to their children. Matter of fact, they alienate their children for the most part, where their kids don't want to deal with them. But a man is thinking from the time he decided he get himself to a point that he want to have children of his son and what he can give to his son and how he can groom him to carry on his name, his life's work. When you look at Yahushua, all he did, he said, my father have given me, have taught me, and what I see the father do, the son do likewise. Everything he talked about it was continuing his father's work. That's what he was concerned with. That's why he say, "Know you not, I must be about my father's business." His whole life was continuing the work of his father and continuing that legacy and name. And then you get born in him, and you're supposed to continue to do the same thing. That's why it's important. That's what a father does. The sons are to continue the work of the father. That's why the father is so important. You remove the father, the son has no work to continue. He walks around aimlessly. An aimless man is a horrible man because he doesn't know what his purpose is and what he's supposed to execute in life. And it always ain't about no money. You know what I'm talking about? If you're like this here, every man in here got a vocation that they participate in. See, only stupid people will be like, I'm going to let my son grow up and choose what he wants to be in life. No. Rulers don't do that. Son, this is what you're doing. This is what we do as a family. This is what you're doing. But they get groomed with it because you put them on that as soon as they're able to do it. You don't let them grow up and I'm going to pick my own way, Pops. Well, shoot, I ain't paying for it. Daddy, I want to be a classical dancer. I hope you get you a job, son, because I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for that. And guess what? When you pay the cost to be the boss, you can do that. When you pay for everything, you could do that. You ain't telling him he can't be a dancer. I'm just not paying for it. And I'm just using that because, you know, some of you, what you went to college for? A liberal arts degree? You went to school? You ain't go to school. I don't even know why I asked you that. I'm not talking about high school. How long you was there?
I went to work with my daddy.
What you were going for? But what does that even mean?
It's your associate, so it's not like this one degree that is one class.
No reason why I asked that because, you know, I went to, you know what I'm saying, this college for a little bit. I only went for the money to buy some dope. I ain't gonna take money. You know what I'm saying? But then, of course, I went to, you know, was around people who went to school. And I'm getting a business degree. Nigga, what does that even mean? Oh, you wanted to be a hypnotizer.
You would get business degree to work for a business.
Nigga get a business degree just to say I was there.
Niggas definitely do that.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I can see if you're going after an MBA and all that there. But you know what's funny? That majority of people who get a business degree never own a business in their life. I always found that real ironic. You go get a business degree to go get a job.
But that's so you know how to be the best person for their business. Good business.
Let me tell you something, right? No, you don't get paid. You still got. What I'm saying is when you own yours, there's no cap. There's no ceiling. When you get a job, there's a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Your earning potential is capped. And what I'm just saying in general, I'm not saying 100% of the time or knocking the reasons why people do it. What I'm saying is that I find it out. I thought people got business degrees until I actually seen it because you were trying to get the skills to own your own. Then I noticed that they went to go get a job. And I'm like, well, shoot, why would you go to school to get a business degree? Then at this point, you don't need it. And then I started to see that a majority of people who had successful businesses didn't even graduate from college. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, man, what's shoot? I ain't got nothing. I got some debt, but, you know, I ain't got nothing. So, cool, that list.
I think it just sounds cool.
No, I mean, I'm just adding general, you know.
Business nigga.
I got a business degree. Let's keep on, man. We got to get y'all out of here.
What they doing? Sound good at doing.
We're in verse 40, right? I just read over Genesis 41 and 40. I just read over, you should be over. And according unto your word shall all my people be ruled. This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Hear ye him. And if you will not hear him, whom I send, that is a prophet like unto Moses, I will require it of you. Only in throne will I be greater than you. My father is greater than me. And where did he say he sit at the right hand of who? So that's how you know that his father and throne is greater than him. That's where you read in 1 Corinthians 15 when he said he'd take the throne and give it back to the person who gave him rulership so all things could be all in all. Listen what he said. You shall be, I already read that. Verse 41, Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I set you over all the land of Mizraim. Pharaoh took his ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. He arrayed him in vestures of fine linen. What we just talked about the high priest wear. Fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. That ring and that chain symbolizing his rulership. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, and there goes your trumpet. And what does it say? Bow the knee. And he made him, they put ruler there, over all the land of Egypt. Now we'll look at cry. And quiet, of course, is kara, and that is to cry out, to call out, to summon, to invite, to proclaim, or to summon. And you don't realize on that last trumpet, that seventh trumpet, let me show you what happens at the seventh trumpet, that everybody got to bow the knee. Revelation 11. Let you who will be esteemed. I didn't want y'all to see that now, because you'll see cry. That ain't got nothing to do with no trumpet. It doesn't if you don't have understanding. If you do, you understand it plainly. Revelation 11 and verse 15. What's she doing to that baby? She bothering you? I'm finna bother Muffin Man. Hold on. Lizzie, I'm gonna show you something, right? You ready? Are you ready, Lizzie? Hold on. Who is that, Lizzie? Oh, you're right. That's you? Oh. He did that last time. He pretty dark to be you. I showed him this here. I said, hey, man, who this is? He just did it just then. He said, that's me. I said, that's me. Who that is? That's you? I don't know. He pretty dark. I did that one. I said, I want to see what he was going to say. Verse 15, Revelation 11. The seven Malachim sounded. There was great voices in Shamahim, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become our Lord's and his anointed one. And he shall reign forever and ever. The 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped, saying, we give you thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which are, was, and are to come. Because you have taken to you great power and have reigned. The nations were angry. Your wrath has come. The time of the dead, that they should be judged, and they should give reward unto your servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear your name, small and great, and they should destroy them which destroy the earth. You remember what it said, right? The whole earth would tremble in Psalms 114. Well, the whole earth trembles at the sounding of the last trumpet. We read that the other day in Zechariah 14. The whole earth trembles because of it. And that's what that cry. Because what did he say? And he has proclaimed that every knee is going to bow and every tongue is going to confess. And he also told you by the mouth of Paul in Philippians that at the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, everybody going to bow the knee, every tongue going to confess. That's Isaiah 44, if you want to know where that's at in regards to bowing the knee and confessing with the tongue. So when you see him cry out, because at this point, if Joseph had been set up in rulership, that means judgment has entered in on his behalf to set him at the estate where he was supposed to be. Yahusha extended into the state that he was supposed to be, to sit in the second chariot, to get the fine linen garments, the ring and the chain, and that everyone would bow the knee. When he resurrected from the dead, what did he say to his apostles in Matthew 28? All hail. And then what did they do? They bowed, fulfilling Genesis 37, with them 11 brothers bowing down to Joseph. But dudes tell you ain't supposed to worship him. What book you been reading? Who don't reverence their king? That's your king. You only supposed to worship God. You ain't been paying attention. They bow down to David, boy. They bow down to multiple kings in this book. But you wouldn't know that because you ain't never dealt with a king. So you wouldn't know that's what you do. More specifically, your king. Let's come back to Psalms 81. Say Duke took that L. It ain't in this well. Coach K can go to hell. That's what Verse 6. This is what I understand, so you can see this here, right? Because this psalm, and we got with it, we're gonna come back tomorrow. This psalms go to talking about what happened to you in the wilderness, then they go to talking about what happened to you in the land. It's multiple different things that's being discussed there. It is not the same narrative. How do we know this? Because it mentioned Joseph, right? That had nothing to do with anything with blowing the trumpet in the new moon. Verse 6 say, I removed his shoulder from the burden. His hands were delivered from the pots. Guess who he talking about? Delivering you from Egypt. If you want to know what burden is, that's right. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm reading the word. Sabal, load, burden. And what did Yahushua tell you in Matthew 10? All you that are heavy laden, come unto me and I'll give you rest. Or you lay your burdens down to him. See, him delivering, I removed his shoulder. See, that's a whole nother thing, right? I removed his shoulder from the burden. Talk to me now. Some of y'all been around here long enough to be able to tell me how you going to line that up, that I removed his shoulder from the burden. You should give me at least 5 places off the top of your head right now. You got to come with it. You got to give me that. Issachar, he bowed his shoulder to bear, and he saw rest was good. See, that's another inclination of him carrying his stake. Then you're supposed to go to Samson, because Samson was carrying that burden. Then you go to Ezekiel 12, and he was carrying that burden. He told you that. Then you go to Isaiah 9, the government is on. Then what I mean is there's multiple places that tell you the same thing. So when he tell you that he delivered him from the load, that man carried his stake, and then he delivered him from the burden of the stake, which was death, under everlasting life. And that's how he removed his shoulder from the burden, and his hands were delivered from the pots. What are the pots? Of course, it's going to be literal pots, but the literal servitude. And then when you look at literal pot, I'll give it to you like this. You have the word dude, dalet, and dalet. So now you got this particular matter. You're looking at someone who was hanged and they were secured. Well, the door was hanged and he was secured. Yahushua is the door. So the hanging of Yahushua secured you life, because the dude means pot, jar, basket, or kettle. So what does a kettle do? A kettle used to boil water. He was put in a furnace of affliction. I delivered you from your suffering. And that's exactly what he did to you when you came up out of Egypt, because they gave you taskmasters and burdens, and he delivered you from your burdens and delivered you from the kettle or the furnace of affliction that you suffered by the hand of your enemies. And then the difference spiritually is you suffered from your enemy of death. He delivered you from such a thing. You know what I'm talking about? See, under the earth. But you don't know that somebody said that, though. That's why he said it. He said, you called in trouble, I delivered you. I answered you in the secret place of thunder. I proved you at the waters of Meribah, Selah. See, we'll stop right there. You who are willing, we'll pick that up on tomorrow at that one. You know what I'm saying? But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We're going to stop right there. Let me go ahead while we... That boy said that's a grand slam. Well, let the Lord be his thing. Let's turn around. I want y'all to come to 1 Corinthians 11. I just do it on camera while we're here. You know we got to do it every year. Oh, with that being said, because there are certain women here on their cycle, and Deidre is not at the point where she can do that because she is not 80 days removed from birth, that means that a second Passover must come into play. I don't think we've done one of those in a long time. For those of you who don't know, it's in the law. You can find it for yourself. If a man find himself unclean by reason of a dead body or any other reason, or by means of a long journey that he can't make it to Passover, then there would be a Passover feast in the 14th day of the second month in order for individuals to partake in the Passover. See, dudes don't even know what Yahuwah were doing with that. See, you think that was about you partaking in some lamb? Why would he need to come in the lamb and tell them to do that? And why is that the only feast that he set up for that? Because of what here in 1 Corinthians chapter 11. He knew what was coming. I'll read the whole thing. I'll start at verse 17. Oh, you coming to help? Oh, she look like, oh, Muffin got a different now. You got Mogan David. Look at Deidre. I'm ready. I used to drink that all the time back in the day. That's that cheap wine. Y'all niggas know y'all was on that Mad Dog 2020. MD. Look at me. I heard it. I was gonna say I done married a drunk. I told her the other day she like to say talking about cognac. That nigga act like nigga drink OE but don't drink cognac. I drunk tequila. I was a sophisticated drunk. I put lime and salt in mine. 1 Corinthians 11 and 17. Now in this that I declare, I praise not, that you come together not for the better but for the worse. First of all, when you come together in the house, I hear that there to be divisions among you, and I partly believe it. For there must also be heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you, meaning that there's people coming with bad doctrines and they have to be shown forth. When you come together, therefore, in one place, is it not to eat the Lord's Supper? For eating everyone take before his own supper, and one is hungry and another is drunken. What, have you not houses to eat and to drink in? Or do you despise the house of Elohim and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? I shall praise you in this, I praise not. For I have received of the Lord that which I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, the night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do you as often as you drink in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. Let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of bread and drink of cup. For he that eat and drink unworthily eat and drink damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. What does that mean? If you know you're evil and you're wicked, you better look at yourself in the mirror before you sit back and be guilty of killing that man. You know what I'm talking about? But that's neither here nor there. But I bless y'all. Well, it is here and there. So let me not say it. But I bless y'all at the house Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Man, I appreciate y'all. You who are willing, we'll pick this up on tomorrow, 7:30. You know what I'm talking about? Trap gonna be open for a week straight. That's little Lizzie. She climbing on my back. I don't know why she's doing it. I think she used to being on the camera from her when she was a baby. But we gonna get on here and do the thing, man. You know what I'm talking about? And we're gonna make it do what it do on the next one. So you who are willing. Very well, everyone. I need a cup.
Yeah.
I need a cup.
Somebody pull me up.